Hello friends, I am Vijay. Welcome to my channel. In our last video, we discussed about the VPC, and today we will discuss about the component of VPC, that is subnet. So in our AWS, we have a two kind of a subnet, that is a private subnet and public subnet. So before going to the public and private subnet, let's go to that what is exactly the subnet. So subnet is a range of IP addresses in your VPC. So basically, we have availability zone and region in our VPC, in our AWS, right? So subnet exists as per the AG label. So when we have a subnet, so it exists within that availability zone. It can't go beyond that availability zone by default. So that is different story that we can share that subnet in the other account or OU. So that is all, but by default it will be under that AZ only, right? So if we want a kind of a redundancy, so we must have subnet in each AG. So let's take example. If we have any region which are having 6 AG, so if we want a redundancy of that subnet, then we must create a subnet in each AG. So we must have a 6 subnet under that particular VPC, right? Okay, then comes that what is the private subnet and what is the public subnet. So private subnet means we don't have a connectivity to the outer world. Public subnet means we have a connectivity to the outer world. So what is the component which gives us the connectivity to the outer world? That is the internet gateway in AWS. So basically internet gateway is a gateway to go in the outer world. So if we have a connectivity with the internet gateway, then that subnet is a public, and if it doesn't have a direct connectivity with that internet gateway, then it is a private subnet. We may have a requirement in our in a customer is many customer are they are having environment, or in their environment they do have a requirement like some they don't want to expose their database or application, right? They want to expose only their web server to the outer world. So those servers we have to deploy in the private subnet. But if we want to go for patching or some kind of updation on those servers, then we do have a facility of the NAT gateway and not NAT instance, right? We can get the connectivity, outbound connectivity to the outer world through the NAT gateway or not NAT instance, but it will not be the inbound connectivity. Okay. I would like to highlight few things because we are talking about the subnet. Those who are familiar with that CIDR, then it's good. But those who are not familiar with that, so I will take hardly 1 minute for that, right? So how the IPs are allocated, so that is done by the CIDR. So if we talk about the IPv4, we have a 3 kind of a category: Class A, Class B, Class C, and accordingly they distribute the IP addresses. So the we should aware that the first 4 IP address, they are not for use. They are either they are using for network address, or they are for the VPC routing, or they are reserved for the future, or they are reserved by AWS itself. I would like to highlight 2-3 things before we will just go to the console and we will just do the practical. That in one region we do have a maximum 5 VPC. The same way we do have a limitation for subnet as well. In one VPC we may have 200 subnet, right? And for IPv4 CIDR block and IPv6 we can have 5 by default, right? Okay, so I hope we are clear on that one. So let's do one thing. Let's go to the console. So we do have 2 VPC exist over there. One is the default one and one is the manual, which I have created myself. So first we'll check that what is the status of that VPC, which is the default one. So this is the default one, and the VPC ID is 3734. So let's go to the subnet, and if you will see 3734, these are the VPC ID. And these are the subnet which are connected with this VPC ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these all subnets, they are attached to this VPC, right? And this is the default one. So in default one VPC, we have already discussed that in our last video, that it will create automatically a lot of things like route table, internet gateway, NACL, right, security groups, and DSCP option set automatically get created, and they will attach it. So by default, the subnet of default VPC, it will be the public subnet. Why? I'll show you how you can differentiate it. So I have selected this subnet, which is related to the default VPC. I will go to the route table. In route table, when you will see that we have a two routes available over here. The one is for the local, and the second one, if you will see that this is the full range of IPv4. It is directly attached to the internet gateway, right? And if you will just click on any of that subnet, right? If you'll see here as well, the second subnet I'm choosing, this is the internet gateway. So this is the public subnet. Let's take example of our manual VPC, right? Which I have created, and I have to create manually subnet under that VPC, right? So if you are creating VPC manually, so by default subnet will not be created. So this is the 4D7, right? So let's see how many subnets exist under this VPC. So I have created, if you will see, I have created 3 subnet under this one, right? Test 3, test 2, test 1, test, right? So we don't have any internet gateway because I haven't created that one. And if you will see here, if you'll go here, and if you check the route table, so we do have only one route exist under that, and that is only for the local. So this is the private subnet because we don't have a connectivity to the internet gateway directly. So this is the difference, right? And if you want to make it a public, then you can do it, right? You can create a NAT gateway, and then you can route it to that NAT gateway, and then you can let me go there. You can add that right here. So you can add one more route, and you can, instead of local, right, in the second rule, you can route, you can just mention that NAT gateway, and you will get the connectivity, outbound connectivity. So I hope you got something out of here. And let me just share one more thing, that you can, I was talking about right? You can share your subnet as well. So from here you can share your subnet, and you need a resource access manager, right? RAM should be there, and like if it is there, then you can you will just select the subnet, right? And the subnet, if you'll see, then you got this subnet, and you can further you can just mention, and the permission, other things are required to do that, right? But you can share it. And let me tell you that where you can share it. Let me just I will not do that fully, but let me show you something that where it is, where it will show you something. Just take example next. All right, I'm just we'll cover it later, but I don't want to show you something. So you can share it with AWS account, organization unit, role, user, service principal, account, right? So these things you can share. So I hope you got something out of this video, and I hope you learn something, and you can go to a console, and you can just check. You can just check other options. Maybe I didn't, due to some time limitation, I didn't cover everything. Yeah. Till then, happy learning. Bye.